Minister, there have been some concern, if I can put it that way, from some members of the public to say when we voted for you in 2023, we were not aware that you would seek to extend your term in offices by 2 years to 7 years in office. So they regard that as a deception, that you deceived them in 2023.
No, I tend to disagree. And that's why we've just embarked on this program that we are currently doing right now, this exercise. It's very, very important. Don't take it for granted. As members of parliament, once we've been elected into parliament, we're elected to represent our people. So what we're actually doing is part of that representative role that we play. So we gather views from the people. We listen to the people. It's just a bill. It's not yet law. So whilst it's still at its formative stage, we have to go back to the people and scout for views. So if we wanted to do things on our own, whichever way we wanted to do it, we could have actually done so without having gone to the people. But we've decided to go back to the people who are the real principles of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. And we're asking them, these are the amendments. Like I said earlier on, a constitution is a living document. A constitution answers to the people's needs and aspirations at any given time. And people's needs and aspirations, they change, they evolve from time to time. So what people actually thought, or rather the thinking that was there possibly in 2018 was actually different from their thinking in 2023. And it's now different in 2026. So what do we have to do? Each time there is a proposal that comes out, we have to actually subject it to people's perceptions and views. And that's exactly what we're actually doing. And the beauty of it is that you were also part and parcel of this exercise, listening and gathering views. You've heard for yourself what people want. You've heard for yourself what people are actually saying. People are saying we're fully in support of Amendment Bill number 3. There are quite a number of reasons why they're actually supporting this bill. Like I said earlier on, people are talking about policy stability. Policy stability then actually informs, or rather ensures, that there is economic stability. Once we have economic stability, it means we're now endearing ourselves to the investors. Investors, they come through. When they come through, investors, they come through to invest. And by so doing, they create jobs. And when they've created jobs, our people are now employed. What does that mean? It means better livelihoods for themselves and their families. And this is exactly the same kind of thinking our people actually have at the moment. They're actually saying we've had, just allow me to just finish on this one. We've had different elections, several elections. And those elections have given us a disputed election, only at presidential level. And there was no disputes at council elections. There was no disputes at parliamentary elections, only a dispute at a presidential election. So they're saying, well, because of that, why don't we then empower our MPs to actually go and represent us in parliament and elect our leader from parliament? This is not new in Zimbabwe, for your own information. Currently, as we speak, the people of Zimbabwe do not choose the mayors. They choose councillors. Councillors would then go and choose a mayor in their first council sitting. That's exactly the same thing that we're actually doing. South Africa are doing it, Botswana are doing it. And that's progressive, way of doing things, progressive way of, politics. So at the end of the day, all I'm trying to say is what's happening right now is fully informed by the people. And hence you've seen that hall is packed with the people. Those are not ends, they're people, and they're expressing their views.
What is your interpretation of Section 328, subsection 7?
So the interpretation is quite clear. It talks about term extension. Term extension and election cycle are two different things. Term extension, if we'd actually gone for a situation where we were saying we now want to give the president and all his elected officials another term, that could have been a problem. that was actually going to be subjected to a referendum.
What
we are only doing right now is a cycle. We're only changing the cycle. And this is in line with other developmental countries. There are more than 13 countries that are actually doing exactly the same like we've actually done. The likes of Burundi, Equatorial Guinea, France, until possibly around 2000, they used to actually have a similar 7-year election cycle. Even Russia, currently, they've got a 6-year election cycle. So at the end of the day, like I said to you, a constitution is a living document. It simply answers to the people's needs. And the people's needs at the moment are saying, we're tired of just going to an election every other 5 years, and eventually they're not giving us much. We want a situation where once we've elected our leaders, they're given enough time to focus on development.
But Honorable,
yes,
there are so many concerns that people are raising that the changes that are going to be affected by this amendment, like introducing the parliamentary system of electing the president, that's pretty much taking away the right of every citizen to elect the president. And we also have the term now being extended from 5 to 7 years. These are significant constitutional changes. Don't you think they did warrant and justify a referendum, in your thinking?
As I said earlier on, whatever we do in Zimbabwe, we're guided by the constitution. And like I said to you, there are only 3 sections in the constitution that require us to go for a referendum.
Okay, which are these?
The land issue, the land tenure, then the Bill of Rights.
Chapter 4.
Yes. Chapter 4, that's the land issue. That's the Bill of Rights. Yes. Then the land issue. Yeah. Then
Chapter 16.
Yes, Chapter 16 and Chapter 328.
And the right to vote is enshrined in Chapter 4.
The right to vote has not been taken away.
It's in Chapter 4.
It hasn't been taken away.
But it's in Chapter 4.
That's what I'm trying to explain. Allow me to explain. So at the end of the day, if you to actually listen to yourself carefully, people are still voting. People are voting for their councillors. People are voting for their members of parliament. And once they voted for these representatives of theirs, of their own choice, these representatives will actually go and choose a president. They will elect a president. And like I said to you, this is not the first time it's happening in Zimbabwe. It's not a situation that's just Zimbabwean alone. Just close by, and next door neighbors, I can see you putting on a nice Sadak jacket. South Africa, they're doing exactly the same. And Botswana, they're doing exactly the same. For your own information, the same Zimbabwe, in 1980, when we got our independence, we adopted the Westminster way of doing things. And around that time, the Prime Minister, who was the head of state and government around that time, was chosen through Parliament. And during that time, we never had any political bickering. We never had political polarization. We never had toxicity within our country. And we are saying that was a very good thing. Why did we then migrate? Why did we then move from such a good thing?
I think what
Why
you're saying,
don't we just revert back to what we used to do that was right? And this is exactly what we're actually doing. We've decided the issue of direct universal suffrage does not work in Zimbabwe because it will always produce a disputed election. We now want a situation where the people are going to be given an option to elect their leaders. They are going to elect parliament. Once they have elected parliament, it's the same parliament that will then actually elect the president. Before you even ask me another question, I can see you about to ask. I want to refer you to section 97 of the Constitution, the very same Constitution. Section 97 says, if at any given time the parliament sees it fit that the president has failed in his capacity to deliver as the head of state, they can impeach. The parliament was given that sole mandate by the people to impeach a president. If the same parliament can impeach, why is it so difficult for them to elect? As simple as that.
But the references that you are making to South Africa, Botswana, and any other country, I think is not disputable. But what people are saying is, give us an opportunity to partake in this amendment by way of a referendum.
In all respects, my brother, I don't know which people you're talking about. Possibly you've got your very own that you're communicating to somewhere. Because when it comes to the people, I don't know if what you're actually seeing inside this wall is maybe possibly some ends or anything like that. Because those are people. The wall is packed. These are the people. And they're expressing their views. Zimbabwe is a democratic country. So for any changes that are bound to take place in Zimbabwe, any laws that are bound to be introduced in Zimbabwe, they will never pass the test of them becoming law and be used in Zimbabwe unless they've been subjected to a public hearing, like we've actually done right now. So those are the people. They were in Chitungwiza yesterday, they were in Epworth yesterday, and today they're here. And they are saying, in their own words, without having to put anything into their mouths, that we are happy with Amendment Bill number 3. So what else do we need when people are talking about it and people are fully in support? These are the people. There will never be any other Zimbabweans over and above what you're actually seeing inside.
Yeah, we saw packed venues, Epworth, Chitungwiza, even here.
Thank you.
And these are thousands. And if we go by the election data of 2023, you will realize that Harare alone had close to 1 million of people who participated in the election. The number of people who are participating through public hearings does not even reach even 1/9 of the total. So I'm just want to put into context to say the responses may not be representative, and therefore people are asking for an opportunity to say, if I can be allowed, I can go and vote yes or no.
So
public hearings which take place maybe, for example, 2 hours.
I will give you this scenario.
We have got 20 people participating, representing thousands of people.
It's not 20 people. Let's be honest with ourselves. So many people are speaking and people are airing their views inside. But what I want to say to you is, how many people do we have in Zimbabwe? The total population of Zimbabweans. What's the total population of Zimbabwe?
That's neither here
nor there. I'm just asking. Let's just maybe, please, if you can just answer me on this one. The population of Zimbabwe. What numbers are we talking about?
Yeah, the participants who are contributing.
No, not the participants. I'm just saying the total.
May not be representative.
Before we get there, I wanted us. I thought you were just going to do exactly like what you've been doing and have been responding accordingly. You were just going to answer my question. It's just a simple question. What's the population of Zimbabwe? As simple as that. What's the population of Zimbabwe?
No, if you are going to look at
all right, fine, I'll tell
16 million.
60 million.
Yes, and
exactly.
People who maybe were less than 100,000 sharing their views on a constitutional
just a minute. We've got 16 million Zimbabweans. Each time we go for election, about 3-4 million actually vote. But those views are taken as a representative of what the people of Zimbabwe want. That's exactly the same exercise that we're doing right now. No one was denied a right and an opportunity to come. This exercise is not only being done here, it's being done everywhere, all the 10 provinces. And out of all those 10 provinces, it's at least minimum 10 or so, 15 districts that are having this opportunity. And with such numbers, I'm telling you, this is a true representation of what people want. Mind you, Zimbabwe is highly informalized. People are busy doing their work. They're busy going about doing what they're actually doing right now. So eventually you then realize that people always share their views. If people generally out there were against the amendment, you are going to hear it through those people who actually came. Because at the end of the day, people always share information. That's exactly what Zimbabweans do. And that's the reason why we're so comfortable every other election cycle. Besides having a population of 16, 17 million people, we always comfortable accepting the results that would have actually come out of that particular election. Why? Because at the end of the day, not every other person is actually going to exercise their vote. Some would decide to, and some may actually decide not to. So we simply saying, once we've opened an opportunity, people are being called out to come through and aid their views. What we are bound to actually do as parliamentarians out of this whole exercise is to be guided by what people have actually said. People have spoken willingly. Those that were actually against Amendment Bill number 3, they've spoken against it. But how many are there? Just a few, a paltry. The majority, they are fully in support. So whatever the majority says, that's exactly what we do.
The argument, Honorable, before you to have the statistics that is saying we've got people who are overwhelmingly endorsing it, is by way of referendum. That will say 30 versus 70.
We don't want to break the law. I keep referring you back to the very same referendum. We discussed there are only 3 sections that are provided for by the referendum, where if ever something is to happen to those 3 sections, we go to the referendum. What we're doing right now has got no bearing whatsoever.
But chapter 4, he has got the right to vote.
The right to vote hasn't been taken away because our people are voting for the parliamentarians. They're voting for the councillors. And this is very unfortunate. People are only arguing right now because we're talking about the head of state. But people haven't been arguing about another arm of governance, which is local authorities. Local authorities are superintended by mayors. Mayors, they're not selected by individuals. Mayors are selected by councillors who would have actually been chosen by the people. And it's exactly the same exercise. The people are going to repose their faith in the hands of the MPs. The MPs, they're going to select a president on their behalf. And obviously, the MPs, before they go to parliament to select, they will always call for views and listen to their people. We represent people in parliament. We don't represent ourselves.
Thank you so much.
We represent people. That's exactly what we've been doing, and that's exactly what we're doing here. If it was just for us, we could have made the law already. It could have been law. But we decided to come to the people. Why? Because we are recognizing that we can't do anything without the people. The people are the owners of Zimbabwe. And as such, whenever something new is about to be introduced, we go to the people first, we scout for their views, and guided by those views, we then go debate, decide, and eventually vote if it calls for us to vote. At times, certain issues, they don't even actually call for a vote. Certain issues are quite clear. People will have spoken, people will be guided by what people have actually said. Like this issue here, it's quite clear. Voting is actually going to be a waste of time. The people have spoken overwhelmingly. And the word, the message is unequivocal. It's quite clear. They want the Amendment Bill number 3 to sell 3. They are in support of Amendment Bill number 3. So that's what we're actually going to do.
Thank you so much.
I thank you.